There is an eerie symmetry to all of our existences at this moment. A pandemic that hit its dreadful peak in March of 2020 has struck the world, and so the lion's share of us are stuck inside so as not to aid in its spreading across a very vulnerable populace. I have a very compromised immune system, and so haven't left my apartment in days. People are watching Steven Soderbergh's Contagion during this period of quarantine, because it concerns the very situation in which we're trapped. People living in fear as a virus quietly decimates huge swaths of the public. Fear-mongering and individual will combating a perfect system of destruction that does not have feelings. It just multiplies and kills. Contagion was one of Steven Soderbergh's many riffs on the work of director Richard Lester, whom he admired and befriended as his star was rising. Lester is quite easy to admire, even if he was one of those directors who had his career turned off when he stopped pulling in truckloads of money. The system was cruel, and he grew sick of it just as studio heads decided they were tired of being nervous whenever he was on set.
What do you want?
Full concession to all demands made by the film.
Come. It will make you popular. A little poorer, perhaps, but you'll be alive.
We lost something magical when Lester stopped directing. Contagion is, in many ways, Soderbergh's remake of Lester's 1974 essential oddity, Juggernaut. Both concern large-scale disasters, and the calculating professionals tasked with stopping them from killing thousands. In Contagion, it's a disease. In Juggernaut, it's a series of explosives placed on a cruise ship. The script was based on the real bomb threat that assailed the Queen Elizabeth II in 1972. Lester rewrote the script to such an extent that the original writer used a pseudonym. Lester made it his, for which we can all be grateful.
There we are. Take that. 3 months for all. There, like that one. You'll enjoy throwing those.
Lester got his start making advertisements and music movies, specifically inventing half a dozen genres and movements, with his movie starring the Beatles. He was the impish frontman of the British New Wave, their most flippant and flexible figure, despite having been born and raised in Philadelphia. He moved to England in the 50s, and the rest is history. By the time of Juggernaut, his rakish grammatical inversions and postmodern approach to just about everything had allowed him to make everything from post-apocalyptic comedies to prestige historical pictures, with every star in the land. Juggernaut was on the one hand a satirical and very English look at the disaster movie craze that had taken Hollywood by storm. More than that, it's about the minute-to-minute depressing existence of being trapped in a catastrophe.
Mr. Porter, a man made those bombs, a man like us. Like Fallon. It's purely a technical problem.
I thought you were going to say a technical exercise. Chance to use your diplomatic expertise. People are dead. Is that a technical problem?
Shouting doesn't help.
I know I must control myself and not question government policy in a loud voice. I must write to the families of the dead and ask them not to question government policy. This time tomorrow, I could be duplicating 1,200 copies of a letter to 1,200 families asking them not to question government policy. I'm going to pay them money.
I shall convey your remarks to the Minister.
Yes, I can imagine, delivered in beautiful, measured Whitehall prose.
I can't predict the consequences.
These are the consequences! We're living through them! Tell him to stuff his subsidies.
Richard Harris is bomb diffuser, Anthony Hopkins investigator, Omar Sharif's boat captain, Ian Holmes cruise line CEO. Everyone has to just sit in the mire.
Good.
I've just been blown up by a bomb, Dad. In my pajamas.
Yes, all right. Now you go back to bed. Okay? Right. Good night. I think he made the amatol in his bathtub. I still don't...
May I?
Please.
I'm sending for the money.
Good.
The star-studded cast drink and founder as their fates are decided, off-screen.
Have you got anybody?
Husband, 2 men, maybe 3. I'm not sure I've got anybody. Go down with the ship, it'll be 3 lines in the Philadelphia Inquirer. I might get drunk. Does that idea appeal to you?
Oh, just a quick one. You know, responsibilities.
Yeah. It's like the poem.
Which one?
Not waving, but drowning.
Lester's unfailing comic instincts lighten the mood in borderline surreal ways.
Ding, boom, tararo. We got the gang of the gin. Now's the time to roll the barrel together, cause the gang all here.
Of all the tightropes he walked in his career, Juggernaut represented the thinnest. How to deflate the disaster movie without removing the tension.
There's the little spider. Photoelectric cell, upper left quadrant. You're quite right, Charlie. The unfriendly bastard is trying to kill us.
This is a stunning, rationalist tapestry of sweating, sad faces trying not to betray that they know they've become expendable. No one but Harris shows off, and even he needs to face death and drink half a bottle of J&B before he does. Juggernaut failed to captivate an audience expecting the next Poseidon adventure, but for a film about what happens to us when we're trapped with ourselves, trapped with each other, trapped while the powers that be decide what our lives are worth, there was no more oddly soothing treatise. The image of Harris, on the boat with a glass of scotch, surrounded by people who don't know he's what's keeping them from Hades, is about all the triumphalism Lester ever allowed. There's something to knowing that we're all in danger, even if we can only wait for the danger to pass while someone else defuses the bomb. I do hope you all feel less alone, knowing how many of us are trapped right there with you.